Hello, church family. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of visiting some good friends and sharing a meal in their home. It seems like a really long time since I've done anything like that, although in reality, it's only a matter of some weeks, maybe a couple of months. In that simple act of sharing our time, space, and food together, we spoke and listened, laughed, pondered, shared our experiences, and learned from each other. We took time to pray before the meal, and my gracious hostess had taken time before our arrival to prepare a simple tray of communion for us as well. I hadn't realised quite how much I'd missed taking communion in company. It felt like we really were following the instructions of Jesus to remember him when we gathered together. And it reminded me to be thankful for the freedom that we have, even in this season of isolation and recovery, to meet together freely and to practice our faith and to share. In coming together for communion at this time, I'd like to read from Isaiah chapter 53 from verse 2 onwards. And it's expressed here quite simply in the words of the Passion Translation, where Jesus and his sacrifice is described. He sprouted up like a tender plant before the Lord, like a root in parched soil. He possessed no distinguishing beauty or outward splendor to catch our attention. There was nothing special in his appearance to make us desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of deep sorrows who was no stranger to suffering and grief. We hid our faces from him in disgust, and we considered him a nobody, not worthy of our respect. Yet, he was the one who carried our sicknesses and endured the torment of our sufferings. We viewed him as one who was being punished for something that he himself had done, as one struck down by God and brought down low. But it was because of our rebellious deeds that he was pierced, and because of our sins that he was crushed. He endured the punishment that made us completely whole. And in his wounding, we found our healing. Like wayward sheep, we have all wandered astray. Each one of us has turned from God's paths and chosen our own way. Even so, Yahweh laid the guilt of our every sin and wrongdoing upon him. In reflecting on this passage, I'm challenged not only to remember his sacrifice, but to remember our God-given and God-bought wholeness, our healing, my found path from my wandering astray, and to give him not only my gratitude, worship, and praise for how he gave me that, but to express my joy and thankfulness for the fruit and the product of that giving. So, as we eat the bread and drink the wine or juice, symbolic of his death on our behalf, I'd like to just pause a moment and give thanks together. Let's share our stories of his provision and his blessing. If you're celebrating on your own, can I encourage you to phone a friend or Zoom a friend? Share your story of blessing or provision with them for their encouragement. If you're celebrating communion in company, please just take a moment to describe to each other a blessing or provision that's recent and meaningful in your life. I've asked Julie if she can tell me a testimony from her week.
My week's been wonderful. Yesterday I met with a whole lot of chappies on Zoom, and it was so good. We just all got together and we were told, all the things that are happening. All chaplains in Southeast Queensland, all chaplains, full stop, are made essential workers. So we actually have the JobKeeper subsidy. So our pay has gone up. But the real blessing that we found was we were asked not to do any fundraising and not to expect any fundraising, because most of our money comes from fundraising. And Wendy, the chaplain from Banksia Beach, we were actually at the RSL Club. We were going to buy a meal for each other, and this lady rings up on the phone, and she is a CEO of some multinational company, and she wants SU Queensland to be the recipient of their tax giveaway, whatever it is, when they
Giving scheme.
scheme.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, we've been told not to look for money, but God is bigger than it all. How good is that?
That's an amazing provision.
Yeah, it was
Thank you for
pretty cool.
sharing that, Julie. Okay. So let's remember Jesus together. This is his body broken for you.
Thank you.
Let's just take that and read it together now. And his blood shed for us. Bless you, church.